Welcome back. You're still watching World Insight with me, Tian Wei. The Belt and Road Initiative is a top concern at this year's 2 sessions. China's grand idea is aimed at nurturing partnerships all over the world for win-win results. But there are some misgivings about the initiative and China's intention in promoting connectivity through it. A better understanding is needed, and Paris Forum on the BRI is a place to set the record straight. The conference was held first in 2017 and the second was held in January at the UNESCO headquarters in Paris. It was packed with participants from governments, think tanks, universities, and businesses. CPPCC member Kong Quan, the former Chinese ambassador to France, who also serves as the deputy director of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the CPPCC National Committee, took part in the forum. In today's special series, Wei in 2 Sessions, he talked about the Paris Forum and a time he and his European counterparts shared the wisdom of history and inspiration for today.
所以在这次会议上呢，我做了一个发言。
I delivered a speech at this meeting because it is only a few days away from January 27th, the 55th anniversary of diplomatic relations between China and France. Speaking of the anniversary, I still remember when President Charles de Gaulle bucked opposition from France's Western allies in having diplomatic ties with China. He firmly said that the decision to establish diplomatic relations with China was a choice with necessity and reason.
Tell me how he said it in French.
Une option de l'évidence et une option de raison.
Why is it relevant today? Particularly, you were spreading the message at the forum about Belt and Road Initiative. What are you trying to say there?
我认为当时他谈到必然的选择和理性的选择的时候。
I think when he talked about the choice of necessity and reason, he thought that he could not ignore a rising China playing a greater role in international affairs. So I think he used these 2 words. When I quoted these 2 words from President Charles de Gaulle at this meeting, there was still a very positive response. I think today, France and other European countries should also have a choice of necessity and reason.
Do you think they will? Do you think they will choose wisely?
I believe that they will come to this conclusion after thoughtful consideration. The Belt and Road Initiative, which committed to planning together, building together, and sharing together. It is bound to be the inevitable and rational choice of European countries, including France.
Talking about history, after World War II, some of the countries led by the United States forged institutions like the World Trade Organization, the International Monetary Fund, and the Bretton Woods system, which have dominated geopolitical affairs for more than 70 years. But now, the model appears to, some say, cracking under a surge of nationalism and trade protectionism. What would it take to fix the world order and make it more comprehensive so as to let more voices be heard? China's Belt and Road Initiative, believed by Ambassador Kong, works to complement this global system. But are all countries on board with the vision? I asked that question to Ambassador Kong. It is easy choice if they didn't subscribe to the idea of Belt and Road Initiative, because that means they stick to the old world rule and opportunities. But if they choose otherwise, that means they are in an uncharted water. So do you think they will really be able to choose the opportunity and choose the future?
你提到这个问题呢，我认为也确实代表了。
The question you mentioned do represent some opinions in some European countries. I feel that since the initiative put forward 5 years ago, some of the doubts have dissipated with the actual results of the Belt and Road Initiative. In the process of carrying out projects, there will be new questions and concerns. I think we should accurately respond to these new problems, answer new concerns, and demonstrate to the people and countries along the Belt and Road Initiative that the initiative is to serve the common interests of all countries.
各国共同发展繁荣服务。
If some people have certain perceptions for a long time. Debt trap, geopolitical ego, things like that. How would you be able to respond to them?
有的问题是源于不了解。
Some problems are due to ignorance. Some problems are due to misunderstandings. Some problems are just like what you said. Actually, the old thinking that China is engaged in its own geopolitics, which is not the situation at all. From the beginning, President Xi Jinping put forward the Belt and Road Initiative, committed to planning together, building together, and sharing together. Therefore, this is not the issue of one country, but working together.
But they would say, words are words, actions are actions. Those are two different things.
I believe that it will be more persuasive when there are more cooperation achievements. The initiative has considered the people's concerns in each country when there are more parties participating in the projects.
But you know, one of the challenges, the Belt and Road initiatives are mainly about infrastructure. And infrastructure takes a long time to initiate, build, and eventually have a result. In other words, it takes some time for you and for China and all the partners on the Belt and Road Initiative platform to show to the rest of the world what has been achieved and what's the nature of this achievement. It's about timing.
实际上，“一带一路”的最开始的五通
Infrastructure indeed is a very important part in the 5 connectivities of the Belt and Road Initiative. I have not only visited the projects of the Belt and Road Initiative in European countries, I also went to Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. I feel that the Belt and Road Initiative is a continuous development proposal, a grand blueprint. Indeed, in some countries, there is an urgent need of infrastructure construction. It is true that infrastructure construction projects have a long period of investment, long cycle of construction, and the economic returns take long time. However, it should be noted that the completion of these infrastructure projects will provide a very solid foundation for the overall development of the country's economy. As China has often said in the past, build the roads to get rich. But I would like to say that there are growing expectations to have more mutually beneficial cooperation with China in other areas, including what we say, the people-to-people connectivity. I recently went to Pakistan, India, and Sri Lanka. You know the issue about the Sinhalese language and the Urdu language. The locals help the Chinese people use their language to communicate with them. Maybe you know that in the past, our Beijing Foreign Studies University has been able to train more than 50 kind of translators. At one time, due to lack of attention, it has dropped to more than 30 kinds. Now it has returned to more than 70 kinds. It will increase to more than 100 in the future. I have been working for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In 2006, I counted the non-common languages that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs had mastered at the time. There are 36 languages in it. Some languages, such as Icelandic, Danish, Norwegian, and Finnish, have only one person who can use it skillfully. Therefore, the Foreign Committee also put forward this proposal. I hope that it will not only be considered from the Belt and Road Initiative, but also as a way for China to develop with a more respectful attitude of other countries, including understanding their language and culture. It is very important to build a community of shared future for mankind.
This is China's first time, one would argue, since become the second largest economy in the world and the largest developing country in the world, to put forward a global mechanism such as the Belt and Road Initiative so that everybody can benefit on top of that. If you think about before, there's nothing like that China has ever tried. So it seems that China has to be on the learning curve always, because this is really the very first time. How is it like for you as a professional diplomat and also a policymaker regarding China's communication as well as China's foreign policy? Think about this uncharted water for China.
你的提问使我想起了
Your question reminds me of the idea that we talked about a few years ago after the 18th National Congress, that the interests of the Chinese people are integrated with the interests of the vast number of developing countries. China's development is in line with the development of mankind. You just mentioned that China has become the world's second largest economy. However, it is far from the standard. It is encouraging to see what we have achieved today from poverty and weakness, but there are a lot of shortcomings that need to be fixed. But I think with China's development, as Mr. Deng Xiaoping mentioned in his early years, China should make greater contributions to mankind. From this perspective, the Belt and Road Initiative is indeed a new way in a new era to fulfill our responsibility to neighboring countries for a common future. From this point of view, many problems can be solved easily.
China made quite a few milestones in the past 40 years of reform and opening up. The 2008 Beijing Olympic Games is one of them. CPPCC member Kong Quan helped make the Games happen while serving as the ambassador to France at that critical time. Hosting this popular sports event has been etched in the memory of the Chinese people. The Olympics was also a challenging time since there were skepticism and doubts around the world about China's ability to pull it off. But eventually, after the spectacle of the opening ceremony and the games took place, everyone was blown away. As observers put it, because it's a totally different China that they are seeing from the one in their minds. How do you compare the challenges that China faced before 2008 Olympic Games with what now that China is relatively facing? Also, doubts, questions, misunderstanding in front of the world.
每一个时代，我觉得我们中国在同
China will face some specific problems when developing mutually beneficial and friendly relations with different countries. In some countries, there may be political issues. In others, there may be economic and trade relations. Compared to 2008, the development of China has won more recognition and understanding by other countries. This is very important. Over the past 10 years, people have seen that the rising of China will not result in a dominant power, which Western countries used to be. While developing its comprehensive economic strength, China will seek to have mutual benefits with other countries in the world with an open mind. To develop mutually beneficial cooperation among countries such as the Belt and Road Initiative, I think that the positive response to the Belt and Road Initiative is what we could not imagine 10 years ago.
You were there. You knew everything.
我处理了很多
The
棘手
torch
的问题。
relayed everything.
我这个处理了很多棘手的问题。
I was there in 2008 and dealt with a lot of tough problems, but I think even then, the French people were very excited that China could host the Olympic Games, because those who knew the situation saw that China could show a good performance in international competitions step by step from poverty and weakness, especially through the Olympic Games. It has indeed played a very good role in showing China's daily life and various aspects of China's situation.
的这个各方面的情况，也的确发挥了非常好的作用。
How were you dealing with it? I really want to invite your advice. I mean, you were there, you understand how you went through that process. On the one hand, China has great intentions. And you know it is not ill-feeling. But on the other hand, there is the misunderstanding. And some of them just out of not knowing much about China at all, but reaching conclusions already. I mean, when you were an ambassador, it must be very frustrating to deal with this, very split kinds of perceptions. How were you dealing with it then?
我感到很重要的一点就是坦诚的交流。
I think it's very important for me to have an open communication. Through my conversation or communication with French people, I always hope they make up their own minds, and I will express China's consideration, policies, and proposals. I believe that only through exchanges, only through cooperation projects, the misunderstandings and doubts will be weakened and simplified. Some hostility cannot be eliminated, but we can have the confidence to grow together with people all over the world in today's extremely complex and challenging situation.
You were in the middle of many important moments, both as ambassador and then later serve in the important position of Chinese diplomacy, and later also dealing with some of the territorial controversies between China and some of China's neighbors. What does it take now for China, really, to be able to get across its message and to patiently listen, particularly when one country is getting ever stronger than it used to be?
实际上边界问题呢，有着非常复杂的历史背景。
In fact, the border issue has a very complicated historical background. After the founding of the People's Republic of China, through friendly consultation and mutual accommodation, we have settled over 90% of the disputes concerning the demarcation of the border. I believe China will always uphold such a concept. We should gradually solve the border problem through friendly, peaceful, and equal in-depth consultation. Sometimes when the problem is more intense or reflects a more worrying situation, we should maintain a calm attitude. Sometimes, when the external environment is complex, it seems that the problem will bring about tremendous disturbances. We should maintain an objective mentality and work together to calm the situation. Even if we cannot solve it today, we can slowly and calmly continue to explore this issue in a peaceful way. So, I think that the issues you mentioned are also of concern to the people of the country. As a big country in the world, China's performance on these issues really has a demonstration role.
世界上一个大国，在这些问题上，中国的表现的确有示范作用。
That is Ambassador Kong Quan, Deputy Director of the Committee of Foreign Affairs with CPPCC, talking to us exclusively. And that is all the time we have for today. If you'd like to see more, try to find us World Insight CGTN into your search engine, or check out our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and see the Weibo. From me, Tian Wei, and everyone on the World Insight team, thanks for watching, and tune in again next time for insights across China and around the world. Good night.